Hi, welcome to the ESI Africa studio. Today we have Romain Py, Head of Transactions from AIIM. He's here to share with us his insights in regard to how renewable energy projects can secure funding. Thank you, Mr. Romain.
Good morning.
Good morning. After much delay, we have seen South Africa. It has recently signed bids 3, 4, and 5 of the REIPPP program. In your own view, what is the long-term impact of this delay, and what can be done to ensure that no further challenges of this nature will occur?
I mean, the South African REIPPP program has been a very successful program, and is still heralded across the world, and especially across Africa, as a model to follow. Around a bit less than $10 billion investment in the previous round, last round around 4.5 billion. So for the scale in the continent, he has put South Africa on the map. He has put South Africa on the map for renewables. And just I think from an investor standpoint, last year funds managed by AIIM produced around 24% of the renewable energy generation in South Africa. So I think from that we see it's a nice step, and we hope it continues going forward.
Okay. And looking at the market, what are some of the risks associated with investing in renewable energy projects in Africa as well?
So I think in a way South Africa has been blessed by a number of things. One of them is the availability of local long-term debt. Most of the other African countries don't have this chance. So in that sense, their source of funding are going to be dollarized. So currency risk is the first one. The second one is the off-taker counterparty or credit risk. Most of the off-takers, the buyer of power from your solar PV plant, most of them are bankrupt or are not in a credit-worthy situation. So you need to, what we call credit enhance them to a level which will allow them to make them bankable. And the last one is execution risk. Here, and I think what people like in the REIPPP, what they do like in Uganda GetFit, is something you got what we call programmatic development. You got 10, 12, 20, 50 project closing. Okay. In the rest of Africa, execution risk, a lot of projects do not close at all. Okay. And I think people are spending money, but the projects are not closing. And I think that's a shame. So, that's maybe the 3 key risks I would say are present in the rest of Africa.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I have attended a number of technical workshops at this year's AUW. And most of the issues that utilities are raising is that they're saying there is funding, but how to secure that funding? How can investors, especially in the private sector, address risk?
I think you need to look. There is different kind of investors. We've seen a lot of people try to take advantage of a market dislocation. We are a long-term investor. We are patient. We have stamina. We took a long-term view. If we need to wait 1 or 2 more years to deploy, that's not a problem. And I think for us, what we're looking at the fundamentals. If we like a risk profile, we'll be patient to execute. Okay. And I think we know we've closed a number of precedents around the continent. We've closed Azure Aido, first IPP in Nigeria. We've closed Sen Power and Amandi, number 1 and 2 in Ghana. We've just received the Power Deal of the Year yesterday night for Albatros Energy, which is the first IPP in Mali. We are currently closing the first IPP in Burkina. So we've always been on pine fighter projects. So we know what it takes to make projects bankable and to get them to financial close. Okay. So risk mitigation and risk allocations are key.
Okay. You deal with a number of investors. What is the private sector or investors in the private sector looking for in a project?
Well, first and foremost, you need to, the risk allocation need to be right. So people should only bear the risk they can manage. If you cannot, then someone else should take it. Okay. So the risk allocation is key. Then the second one, the project need to be bankable, okay, and most important, economically viable. It helps no one building what we call white elephant, a project which is of no use to anyone. Okay. So when you pass that, and that's a big challenge. We think currently around the continent, from what we're seeing like more than 100 projects every year. Less than 10% of that are financially viable. Okay. So we need to get this number bigger. Okay.
Mr. Romain, it seems like we are running out of time, but thank you so much for your time, for being with us. I wish you a pleasant rest of the AUW experience. And to our viewers, thank you for watching. I'm Nicholas Nede, reporting from the African Utility Week. Thank you.